Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Sunday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us. We appreciate all of you. Syracuse pulls out another thriller with a 63-60 win over Florida State in their ACC debut. You'll hear from us and we'll hear from you in fan feedback. And a showdown in Madison Square Garden versus Villanova, Swider's old team. So hopefully Swider can get his swagger as we head into that game this Tuesday. And we'll let you know what we think about that. But first, the coach montage.
You know, their pressure defense is so good. You know, I'm happy that we didn't turn it over more than 13 and that we finally, you know, our defense really won the game for us. It has not been good, but our defense kept getting stops when we had to have them. And when they put their shooters in, we tried to drive that guy. We tried to take advantage of the shooter on the offensive end. And Jimmy did a really good job of that a couple times. But I just thought our defense was the difference. And, you know, you're down 8 on the road and you come back and take a lead like that. That's hard to do. They are in your face the whole game. They're a tremendous defensive team, especially in here. I thought, you know, in the first half, Frank did a really good job for a couple minutes there. I thought Samir, even though he didn't score, he got, you know, had 5 assists. He pushed it up. I thought he did a good job. But at the end of the day, Joe and, you know, Cole, you know, I know Cole's going to make 8 or 10 of these threes one of these days. And, you know, he didn't. He started out 1 for 6, I think. And he hit a couple, and I think there's a couple more. If they're going to play face guard Buddy and Joe that way, Cole's going to get shots. And he's gonna have to cash them in, and I think he will as he gets a little bit more game experience with us.
Coach, with Buddy Boeheim being doubled a lot this game, what did you have to change in the second half to better help the team?
The other guys have to take advantage of that. You know, they doubled him. Jimmy got the ball. Jimmy drove in. We ended up with a 3 for Cole Swider. So if they're going to double him, other guys have got to pick it up. Buddy made 2 impossible drives. I don't know how he made those shots even. But they're going to double him, or when he goes with the ball, they're coming to help. Other guys are going to get shots. And that's the way it is when you're a really good player. Some nights, that's what you got to do. You got to get it to the open guy, and we have other guys that can make shots.
I mean, were you surprised about what they had the lack of success from the three-point line, and they shot a whole bunch of them?
Well, everybody does.
Right, but not
Everybody does.
4 for 30.
Everybody does. Everybody does. Watch it. We missed, you know, it cost you a game. I mean, you know, Jimmy missed 2 layups. You know, you got to make those. You know, we had a bad turnover there at the end, but, you know, you got to hang on and find a way, and we did.
You didn't put Benny back in after taking him out in the first half. What
He's just standing there. He's got to do something. He had 2 great chances to go get a ball, and he just didn't do it. So we have to win. We have to play the guys that can help us win. There's a lot of freshmen around the country that aren't playing. Top 10 players.
All right, the coach montage is brought to us today by MyBookie. It's not every day you can double your money, but with MyBookie, you double your money instantly thanks to their double deposit bonus for all new users. With MyBookie's double deposit bonus, when you sign up at mybookie.ag and use the promo code SPORTSDRINK, you'll instantly receive double your initial deposit so you can kickstart your betting experience with all the best games, leagues, and casino options to choose from. Patriots Bills tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. You could take plenty of prop bets on that. You can go there and do that. You can bet for tonight's game, Sunday night game. Set yourself up for success by doubling your first deposit when you use the promo code SportsDrink at MyBookie. That's promo code SportsDrink to double your initial deposit all the way up to $1,000. Bet anything, anywhere, anytime with MyBookie. Thank you, MyBookie. Okay, so where do we start?
No, bud, you tell me. How you doing? How was your weekend?
I'm great. Weekend was fantastic. I got a dumpster at the house. I ripped the ceiling down for my daughter overflowing the tub, which trickled down into the kitchen. It was raining in the kitchen when I got home one day. And so I had to tear down all of the drywall in the kitchen this weekend, and we're going to have to redo that. So that's awesome. And while I was at it, I said, you know what? Let's tear up the floor in the bedroom and redo that too. So that's what I did.
Wow.
It's fun.
Ambitious.
It was ambitious. I figure if I'm going to pay $350 for a dumpster, I'm going to fill that thing. So I even went into the attic, pulled out all the stops this weekend.
No, might as well if you got the dumpster.
But I still made time to come here, Joe. Just saying. On time.
Yes, you did.
The day we're supposed to do it. Okay. I'm just playing. So, anyways, you heard Coach at the beginning of the montage. Defense won the game. Well, that hasn't happened yet this year. Defense was pretty good. Also, Florida State struggled a little bit from behind the arc, to say the least. But Frank you heard him mention Frank getting some good minutes early. But Symir, I said last week he's going to have to get better, and I think he's getting better. If we see improvement from Symir Torrance game to game, I feel really good by the time we get to full-throated ACC play even through these next few games. So what did you think, Joe? He didn't score a lot, but he did have 5 assists, and he did a pretty good job on defense too, and he was pretty good with the ball.
Like you said, 5 assists. 1 steal. He was active on defense. So, again, we're going to need that energy off the bench. And he did enough to help us out with getting my buddy and Joe 12 minutes of rest, even though they really didn't get all that rest because we did go small there for a period of time. But, yeah, having Symir Torrance going in there, changing up the defenses and stuff like that, I like to see that, and there were instances where Buddy went down to the wing and, Symir came in and played up top with Joe. So we're seeing different types of,
combinations.
Defensive, combinations and stuff like that.
We're used to this, right? It's why we call Jim Boeheim the chemist, right? Because he does,
especially in the non-conference.
Yeah, especially. You're right. But it always looks rough. That's late November, early December Syracuse basketball. They look lost to a certain extent. They look bad on either offense or defense or both. They look out of sync. They look like they're totally not on the same page with one another. And it's just you're putting in some new pieces. I guess it's to be expected when you get a few new pieces. But while before I forget, while Buddy and Joe are getting worked, Cole, Coach said Cole he was 4 for 13. Okay, so he missed a bunch, which that's fine. You heard Coach say he's going to make 8 or 10 of these one of these games, and I believe it, but. He's going to have to be a little better, in my opinion, when Buddy's getting face guarded the way he was and basically taken out of the game, And I think it'll come, right?
Yeah, that's what, again, is difficult because we know that, non-conference, that's what this is for, you know what I mean? Like, I guess we just didn't have a non-conference last year. It's been 2 years since we've had a non-conference, and I guess that's just...
technically this was a conference game. So,
well, yes, but it's the non-conference period, and
it's right. They threw this one-off ACC game in early. Last year they did it the first game of the season, or the year before that? They did it the first was the UVA game. Remember, it's the year before last, I think.
I think so, because last year I think our only games for the ACC games, right?
You're right. You're right. Ones? I think you might be right. They did do a couple, I believe, but it was all messed up. It was jacked up. You're right, though.
Yeah, it wasn't the same. So
right.
And Florida State, they have good defense, and they're still top 30 in Ken Pom, and so teams are going to do this to Buddy, and I think we're just again. I think this has a lot to do with just Florida State, and at this point of the season, not that great, missing a bunch of shots, and I think that we'll be all right,
Yeah,
I know that I
think
kind of
so.
freaked out a little bit when we lost to Colgate, but
Yes.
I had to
Everybody
had to cool.
did.
Well, look, and that's a really bad loss in my opinion. But again, basketball, you can have a bad loss and still recover from that, and so
I guess
think
my
we
only
have.
argument to that is I guess I would hold. If it's a buy, sell, or hold, if that's a bad loss, I guess I'll hold. I know that they did get they got beat by someone here. Niagara, yeah, that's right. So, with that said, we'll know more. We'll know more in a couple months about that. Okay, to be fair, and that's just where I stand with that. I'm not saying it wasn't a bad loss, but who knows? I'm holding. It's trending that way. Okay, I'll eat my words if I need to. So what's up with Coach and Donna DeToto? I don't understand. The past couple of press conferences, dude, he's been so rude. Let's be honest. She was asking about Florida State and their 3-point shooting, 4 for 30. Regardless of his answer, yes, that's awful. That's terrible. And I think a lot of that had to do with them. To be honest with you, they just needed to change their game plan. And had they started to try to get the ball inside or do something a little different, thankfully they did not, because it could have turned the game around. But they kept shooting threes and they were missing them. So, whatever.
Yeah, well, that's what a team that normally doesn't know how to handle the 2-3 zone or beat it usually ends up doing, or that can just naturally do that to a team. An inexperienced team, or maybe a team that hasn't matured as far as playing with each other.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing we're kind of doing in that aspect.
Well, yeah, they're definitely figuring it out, but you can tell they're still trying to figure out roles on offense as far as who's supposed to be shooting and who's going to be their guy and everything like that. They had a lot of guys play a lot of different types of minutes. There was plenty of people that came off the bench that played more than a few starters. So again, he's still trying to tweak it, and really, I'm surprised at the rebounding, but yeah, everyone shoots threes against us. To Jim's point, most teams against our 2-3 zone tends to huck up more threes than they might normally do.
That's true. But that wasn't what she was saying. So
what was she saying?
I think she was alluding to how come they weren't as many as they took, how bad they were. Something along those lines. I don't think it was she wasn't referring to just how many they took. Obviously, yes, they all do that. Maybe that was a miscommunication. Maybe that's why it came off like that. But regardless, 4 for 30, it's 13%. It's terrible. It's awful.
And that's probably why we won.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. If they had changed their game plan and done something else besides chuck up threes, it would have been a totally different game.
Yeah. And that's the thing is that sometimes you don't know what's what. I think that we got held to 63. Buddy got held to 6 points, which is probably going to be his low of the season. In a game he at least plays or doesn't get injured in, right? But
it's good competition. Look, you can say what you want about Florida State right now, and they haven't played anybody, and the 2 games that they did play were ranked teams and they lost, and you can point to all those things, but it's still Florida State, and you're still, and we'll get into some fan feedback, but you're still going to their house, and it's an ACC game, so
right.
Kind of like none of that really. If it's an ACC game, like none of that really. Whatever, dude. You're going on the home going on the road in the ACC and winning the game. That's good because even if they're even a mediocre team, that could be really close, if not a tier 1 win by the end of the season. Because it's on the road. Because that adds so much.
Right, and again, Florida State. They're still a good team. Leonard Hamilton over there. He's had a good team for a lot of years, and they've been putting in a lot of NBA players here recently, which is why they have such a big turnaround. And I think they're still an athletic, tall, lengthy team that plays really good defense. So they played defense. They kept themselves in the game, but obviously they're still trying to figure out their offensive, roles and just situation and identity. And until that happens, then doesn't seem to me like they're going to be that scary of a team, but they're a gritty team that they'll play defense and they'll be in the game. They'll be in games. You know, they're still an upper echelon ACC team. It's just the teams like that they lost to, those, you know, top 10, top 25 teams who they've been able to compete, you know, in the past. It's a situation where they don't have that. So right now.
Right, and they can figure it out. We play them again in the Dome, and it's going to be, let's see, when is that game? Is it relatively soon? I went back to front here. Yeah, I mean it's January 15th, so this, you know, it's a good month away.
Right.
5 weeks. Okay, so Jimmy missing at the rim a couple times, it was a little agonizing. There was a bunch of mistakes, right? 13 turnovers, which, you know, I mean, like Coach said, basically, thankfully it wasn't more. But he mentions they found a way to win, and they just hung on, and they just hung around, and it's just a testament to these kids just going back, you know, to the previous game against Indiana, when they just fought and never gave up. Down by 11 in this game at one point to all the way up by 11, 22-point swing at one point. And they just never gave up, and they figured it out. They changed some things on defense again, and it worked. And, you know, those little things are going to come into play, though, eventually. You're not always going to be able to pull those out, you know. So some of that stuff, obviously, has got to get cleaned up. But the missing at the rim stuff kills me.
Yeah, that kills you. And, you know, we have to learn how to be able to, because we are going to get bumped, right? And our guys are going to have to learn to finish, you know, around the rim when they're, you know, through contact. I feel like that's one thing that, you know, almost everyone on our team pretty much has to get better with. But I was happy to see, obviously, like I said, the rebounding. They kept the, you know, we won the rebounding.
By one. Yeah.
I know as good as like you said, as good a game as, you know, he said about Cole Swider shooting 4 of 13. He did have 5 turnovers as well. So, again, when we play against good defensive teams, you know, we tend to turn the ball over. I mean, a lot of teams, usually you turn the ball over more, right? So we just need to be stronger with the ball, stronger down around the rim and finishing and stuff. But at least we're, you know, getting in there, getting physical, boxing out, and getting rebounds. So, and also, too, it's nice to see other guys step up and hit shots in certain situations when, you know, they're guarding Buddy the way he is. And I really am also glad that Buddy didn't just, you know, say, oh, I'm Buddy, and I'm just going to keep shooting no matter what, right?
Yeah, he knew,
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, Swider, Jimmy, and Joe all took more shots than him. Not just three-pointers, but like just shots overall. So that usually doesn't happen. You're not going to see too many times where he gets 6 and every other starter gets in the double digits as far as point stat line.
Yeah, I mean, Buddy only shot the ball 6 times.
Well, I see 10.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. It was 3 for 10.
6 points.
Yeah.
3 for 10, 6 points. Again, no free throws. That was another thing too. You could tell, you know, the refs let him play. There were some bad calls. But, you know, only getting to the line 13 times when we're averaging getting to the line 21 times. When
the refs are calling a game like that, Syracuse needs to join the party. You know, if they're gonna be playing like that and they're gonna be that physical and that aggressive at every second, every chance they can, Syracuse needs to join that party.
Yeah, well, at least they're not getting phantom calls called on them.
Well, true, I suppose. So, Benny, not much playing time. I'm sure he's not real happy about his 2 minutes. 0 for 1. It was a 3-pointer he chucked up. It did not land. But, you know, like Coach said, man, you know, you can't just stand there. And I don't remember exactly what he's talking about. I mean, I'd have to go back. I mean, we're talking about 2 minutes. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember exactly what he's talking about. I'll take his word for it. But, you know, Benny's going to have to learn. He's going to have to learn. He's going to have to put more effort into it. Sounds like it was an effort issue to me, and I don't think it was anything to do with the shot he took and missed. But he's going to have to get on board with the program, and I don't know what it is, but you know, if he doesn't, he's not going to play. It's as simple as that. So.
Yeah, I mean, Bam's made it clear pretty much throughout the years of him coaching. If you're not doing anything out there to help us win the game when you're out there, then
you're not going to be out there.
You're not going to be out there. Yeah, exactly. So, and in where he's in, as far as coming off the bench situation, your leash is pretty short.
Already, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, you see,
so it doesn't take much.
You see Torrance and Anselm, they're doing their thing. Anselm, I think he's still got a little bit to go. But Torrance is getting better, and he's showing us a little bit more every game, which that's what you got to do. If you want minutes, that's what you're going to have to do.
Well, and it's different, too, because we're used to seeing the starters for 30, 35, 37 minutes that you don't really see, these other guys. And, there are some lulls when you play that guys that many minutes. Sometimes there's some kind of slower lulls and stuff. You see some guys sometimes, not have their hands as active on defense or stuff like that, right? So when you come off the bench, you're supposed to come out with energy. Like, so when Samir Torrance comes out yesterday with that energy, or Frank Anselm coming out there and getting those boards like he did and filling the middle, I thought pretty well. You could visibly see their energy. Like, you can tell they want to be out there, right? Yeah. And that's what you want to see from people off the bench. When you come off the bench, that's what it's supposed to be. You're supposed to be a spark. That's why they got a 6th Man of the Year award in the NBA, right? Like, you're supposed to be a spark coming off the bench. You want to be out there, to prove you can be out there because you don't get seen that much. But also, that is your tryout.
Yeah, it's your tryout.
You can do whatever.
It's your interview.
I mean, you can play good and practice. It's going to get you out on the court. But if you're still underneath the starters and you go in there and you show low-level energy and you don't do anything, and you don't look like you're even interested, then you're going to get pulled pretty fast. And I think that's what happened here.
Yeah, I would agree. So we will see going forward if any of that changes, but just a couple of things to keep an eye on. So, we'll get into Villanova, but Madison Square Garden hopefully is – to Syracuse's advantage, I would hope. We'll see. We'll see what happens, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. It's time to hear from you.
I think Philly's closer to your city.
Yeah, I think it is too.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right, you guys know what to do at the end of every game. I ask for your thoughts on the game. You go there, leave them. I read some of them. No, I'm kidding. I read most of them, and I'll pick a couple and we'll talk about them here. By the way, it was like 5.5 hours from Syracuse to New York City, by the way. So, that's a hike. You know how far it is from Virginia Beach to New York City? Not far, miles-wise, but how long it takes to get there. It's just 6.5 hours. It's an hour longer. I'm in Virginia. That's crazy. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So, anyways, that has nothing to do with anything, actually. But I figured I'd throw it out there. Okay.
Thanks for the geography lesson.
No problem. Let's do a couple of these real quick here. All right. At MF Brightside, I am one of the biggest Boeheim critics, but this win is primarily due to his coaching adjustments. The 1-3-1 is finally a change of pace that takes away the high post and dribble penetration. FSU was unprepared and shot awfully in the second half. Great win. Yeah, I mean, the ability to do a little bit of these things for right now is going to work. I mean, how long does it work for? I mean, if you can switch in and out of it, maybe it's a little confusing. And you heard Coach, I believe it was in the last. No, it was this game where he said, it wasn't in the montage, but he did say something about, Buddy knows when and how to basically get out of this thing. He calls it a 1-1-3, but whatever, right? So, I mean, it's arguable. I'm not even gonna go there.
It's a zone that basically flows and moves with where they want to stop the ball
at the foul line.
That seems to be the trend the last two games.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, MF Brightside is a big Boeheim critic, but that's fine. Look, I think it's totally necessary to criticize coaches, but for whatever reason, it seems like the people who are not very big fans of Boeheim, the Boeheim haters, let's say, I don't think Matt is that, but the Boeheim haters, they're left with egg on their face a lot of times because he shows up and he basically, he makes them eat crow quite often. which is why I just keep my powder dry a lot with Jim Boeheim, because I mean, he knows what the hell he's doing. He knows a hell of a lot more than any of the media that try to get smart with him, or us, for crying out loud, or any of the fans.
Mm-hmm. So. Absolutely. And when it comes down to it too, I think that you can talk negatively about a current team, right? And, you can talk negatively about the coach, like you said, right? But when you're talking about like possible jobs, or we need to change, like you got to wait till the end of the year. You got to wait to see what the final product is. Yeah. Especially with basketball, especially, with football, you can find out pretty quick here. Like, you can be 3/4 of the way, halfway through the season, and be like, yeah, they're not making a bowl, right? But like, and with basketball, it's like, totally different. Are you going to get in the tournament, and what are you going to do, right? And we've seen what we can do in the tournament and in the past if we just sneak in. So therefore, I mean, it's totally fine to talk like I did about Colgate or this or that, or think that we're not going to make the tournament or anything like that. But until you get to the end, there's really no reason, and I definitely don't call for people's jobs or a change at the guard, if in the middle of a season.
No, and I mean, the fire Boeheim stuff already started. I mean, it started, a while back, probably. Well, I mean, VCU.
Some people
Colgate.
just want to see a different product, and I get that.
Yeah,
but at the end of
true.
the day, like, he's proven that he's allowed to stay. And so, I mean, it's
up to him.
It's up to him.
Yeah. At Tony Staffieri on Twitter, it's safe to say Florida State is not who anyone thought they were. Solid road win, but we have to hope the Seminoles win some games this year. So, I mean, I didn't know if I knew who the hell they were, to be honest with you. I just looked at their KenPom stats, and I could see that they had a good defense, and they obviously do. Kept, Syracuse under 63. Thankfully, Syracuse's defense really stepped up, and the Orange were able to match that, by +3. So, but yeah, that's fair to say. I mean, you got to root for the Seminoles a little bit. We want this to be, like I said, it doesn't take much to bump this thing into a Tier 1 win by the time, we're halfway through ACC play. It's just how it is. It's they give so much credit to road wins on that system that, it's going to take a little bit probably, but we'll get to see who the Seminoles are. And plus, they're going to get better. They obviously have some talent.
They're definitely going to get better. I think that it just is exactly what we talked about. Is a perfect time for us to play that team. Right. Because I think, we're just better off right now offensively than especially that team right there. So their defense will keep them in the game, and it'll still be a close game. But you saw how badly they shot, and to think that if they just hit like one of those threes,
Yeah, if they went 5 for 30 or whatever the hell,
they might have won the game.
They might have won the game. We would have went into overtime. So, it is what it is. I mean, ifs and buts for candy nuts, we all have a Merry Christmas, right? Or at least they would. At DFin01, great win. Even though Buddy had a rough game scoring, Samir played well. Benny is 2 years out, Joe. But I think probably we're going to see Benny. Look, the pressure's on Benny now. Okay, so once Coach goes into a press conference and calls him out, then the pressure's on, plain and simple. And so he's going to have to either start producing, or he's just going to get called out again. It's going to get worse, and he's going to get less playing time. So I don't think he's 2 years out, though. I say by mid to late ACC play, we're going to be seeing a lot more of Benny. I think he's going to get better. I think he's just, as a transition from high school to college ball, it affects everybody differently. We all remember Joe. I mean, was he starting? Yeah, he was. But he was terrible at times in his freshman year. So
right. Well, yeah, and it's just a situation now, especially this year, where we got two older transfer forwards that came in, and it's one of those things where Benny Williams at the end of the day is probably going to be better than both of them. But right now, them playing the minutes and being out there, how long they are, it's kind of necessary for us if we want to win games, because they give us a better chance to win right now. So that's one of those things where, all these people that are screaming for Benny Williams to get more minutes, I mean, because that's the only way you're going to get it, right? Like I said, maybe next year when Swider and Joe or Jimmy are gone, and he's forced to be able to have to go out in there and play those minutes, and he's obviously the first man up. So
if I'm not mistaken, I think Swider could come back.
I'm not sure with everything with this COVID and transfers and all this stuff. I've just lost track. But you don't just. I mean, what are you gonna? Would you rather substitute wins just to develop Benny in the middle of the season?
No, absolutely not.
Because that's really, I mean, that's what I hear when I have these people that are saying that Benny should be playing all these minutes.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because this is where we are. Usually, a 4 or 5 year big conference like player is going to usually be better than most freshmen that come in.
Right,
you get the rarities.
And like Coach said, there's top 10 freshmen not playing. Or excuse me, they're not getting much playing time and they're coming off the bench, so they're not starting.
Right. Well, you got to think those guys go to traditionally big schools, but these traditionally big schools like Duke's and like now with the transfer portal, essentially they're getting these, last year seniors that are coming there to basically fill some spots and try to win a national championship in their last year eligibility, and they don't got to sit out.
Right.
So that's what's going on there. So now you got, some teams that have the pieces that don't necessarily need to get a 5-star to come in and actually, take over and be the man on a team,
Right. All right. We are going to finish up fan feedback right after this. All right. My bookie, it's not every day you can double your money, but with MyBookie, you can double your money instantly thanks to their double deposit bonus for all new users. With MyBookie's double deposit bonus, when you sign up at mybookie.ag and use the promo code SPORTSDRINK, you'll instantly receive double your initial deposit so you can kickstart your betting experience with all the best games, leagues, and casino options to choose from. Bills Patriots this week, this Monday night, tomorrow. You got the props on all of that stuff, plus the game tonight. Set yourself up for success by doubling your first deposit. Use promo code SPORTSDRINK at MyBookie. That's promo code SPORTSDRINK to double your initial deposit all the way up to $1,000. Bet anything, anywhere, anytime with MyBookie. And of course, while you're at it, go to Symbol.com. It's the stock market for sports that allows you to profit off of your sports knowledge. On Symbol, you can trade sports teams like stocks, and every time your team wins, you earn cash. Use your sports knowledge on Symbol, buy low, sell high, and even earn cash payouts when your team wins. Join the 7,000 plus early adopters who have started to invest in their favorite teams. Visit www.simbull.com to create a free account, and when you deposit, make sure to use the promo code SD to make your deposit risk-free. Visit Symbol.com and use the promo code SD, and your initial deposit will be risk-free. This means if you lose money, Symbol will refund your initial deposit, no questions asked. Join Symbol and start investing and profiting off of your favorite teams today. Symbol.com. And the Spotify Green Room. Look, folks, go there, download the damn app. Okay? It's free. All you need is a username, an email address, and a password. Follow us at Cuse Militia. Sign up for notifications. When we go live, you get notified. You can get into the green room. Excuse me. You can get into the green room and you can listen, you can chat, or you can request to speak. If you request to speak and I approve it, go ahead and unmute yourself. There's going to be a red microphone icon on your icon. Unmute yourself. Say your piece. And you can also follow plenty of other stuff. All kinds of things from sports to movies to anything pop culture to music, whatever you want. So go there now. It's free. It's your iOS or Android stores. It's the Spotify Green Room app. Go there today. All right, Joe, we are going to transition into some Facebook ones. Top fan, Mike on Facebook. Huge road win. Will be nice resume builder for March. Well, we're hoping so. Thank God FSU couldn't buy a 3. Yes, that's to our point that we just made. It's a good damn thing they couldn't buy a 3 because we would have lost. We weren't that hot ourselves from 3 either. I'm sitting here talking about Florida State. They were 4 for 30. We were 9 for 30. That was the difference, still not great, 30%. So I kind of, like a Cole Swider, 4 for 13. I think Coach expects that to improve. So with that said, we'll just have to wait and see. But he was getting good looks. There was a couple really. Buddy had a clean one too. Then he missed too. But top fan Robert on Facebook. In the first 5 minutes, I thought we were going to get run out of the building. This team has heart, and that defense, I like it. Great road win in conference. It's no small feat not having won there in 7 years. This team has a lot of heart. Yeah, that's something I didn't even realize until I read his comment. So, and 7 years not winning on the road there. That's huge. Plus, they were about to break Duke's at-home win streak if they beat us at home. And we spoiled that too, which is always sweet to spoil some kind of, record. I don't care who holds it. You know what I'm saying? You don't want them taking you for a ride to their benefit, breaking records. No way. So, Ryan on Facebook, the officiating drove me absolutely insane. Best defense, the defense has looked by far this season, and they definitely showed some grit down the stretch to take control and hang on to the lead. Yeah, when they turned that ball over, Joe, what were you thinking at the end of that game? I was like, oh, it's done. It's done. They're gonna get the last shot. This is how this thing's gonna end. It's gonna suck, right?
So yeah.
So
oh yeah, absolutely. It's just it was looking and getting. It was set up to be kind of a disaster type game, right? Like, I mean, we only scored 9 minutes and almost pretty much the first 9.5 or 9 points in the first 9.5 minutes of the game, right? And then finished off, I don't know, not really that strong. They think they took the lead. It was 35-24 going into half. They were up 11. And then we come storming back, take the lead. We actually take the lead by 11. And I think we were up 8 with like less than 5 minutes to go. We were up 11, I think, with like 5 minutes and some change to go. And slowly but surely, Florida State started clawing back. We'd make a mistake, not make a shot. And it's just, it seemed like, especially with not being able to win at Florida State against Florida State, it just seemed like it was slowly, going down. But, those free throws.
Yeah.
Free throws from Cole.
Yeah, the free throws from Cole. And I don't think I put it in the montage, but it was in there. He was asked, is Cole the one you wanted shooting? I mean, basically, the inbounds pass was designed for him to grab it. So, I mean, he's not terrible. He's not. I mean, he has missed a couple here and there, but let me see real quick.
Yeah, I know he's pretty good. And again,
he's a 91% free throw shooter, just for the record. So that's not terrible.
No, pretty good.
Yeah,
we got a good free throw shooting team. That's why we got to get to the line.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I just thought we were going to get there way more than 13 times.
And we're getting stuffed a lot trying to get to the line. You know what I mean? We're just getting clean blocks. Yes, I know. But it's not just them either. But there's a lot of clean blocks that we were getting.
Oh yeah.
So and Buddy got one too. He got one shoved right back at him. So.
Oh yeah, he did.
Let's see. There was something in here I wanted to talk about. Oh, the officiating drove me crazy. He says, absolutely insane. I mean, I just thought it was a little. Talk about, trying to find a happy medium. You go from the Indiana game where it's whistle, 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 whistle to this game where you're like, holy cow, this guy's getting freaking mugged down there and nothing. But I guess at the end of the day for me, Joe, and I think we've probably mentioned this to nauseum on the show, but if it's consistent on both ends, I mean, I don't know how much complaining I can do. I would like a happy medium between those two games though. Somewhere in the middle would be nice. But who am I? No one cares. Michael on Facebook. Impressive road win for Cuse. Was great to see coach switch up the zone again. Much improved defense. So their two best defensive games. I mean, Indiana wasn't great, but I mean, they did end up pulling that off. I mean, and it's hard to. What was the game going in at the end of regulation? You remember what it was?
Say that again.
What was Syracuse, Indiana, end of regulation? What was the score? It's like 93, something like that. Does that sound right?
No, I thought it was like 85, 89, 89. I don't know, something like that.
So anyways, I didn't think their defense was terrible. I think that you could attribute that game. Their defense played a whole lot better than it had in Atlantis and before that. And I think, we're going to see improvement, hopefully. I mean, that's all we can hope for is to see improvement. And that's just where we are in the season right now. So, Daryl on Facebook, great road win. The 3-point shots were falling for Cuse today. I mean, I kind of disagree with that, but they were hitting them when they counted, I think. So they felt like they were falling, right?
Once the offense actually started playing offense, yeah. Like I said, the first 10 minutes we only scored 9 points, so.
Right, exactly. And what was the halftime score?
35-24.
Yeah, it was low. So he goes on, seeing this team down at halftime, then to make that run in the second half is encouraging. Very much so. The team needs to build off of this. Yeah, and I think, there was a couple people that pointed out in the last fan feedback about, is this the turning point for Syracuse after beating Indiana? I mean, you go ahead, you beat Indiana, a good Indiana team. And then, it's fair to say we don't know exactly who Florida State is, but you go into Tallahassee and you beat Florida State. I mean, these are momentum builders, okay? And,
confidence
it's
builders.
just confidence and momentum, and just that's exactly what they needed at the right time. So, let's see. Steve, top fan on Facebook. It's a win. Need more bench involved. Well, we went over that. The bench will get involved as long as they're doing what they need to be doing. Do quality officials exist anymore? Let's see. He says Frank Howard is the man, but I think it's a Freudian slip there. Frank Anselm, I think, is who he's talking about. What a turnaround for him. And a change in the zone for the second game in a row. Another miracle. Yes, it was another miracle. A Christmas miracle. So how much longer do you think we can see that, Joe, and have it be effective, you think? Switching up the zone. No, switching up the zone.
I mean,
it's tough to say.
I think it's really tough to say, but I think it would be a situation where, if you get a lot of it on tape, then sometimes teams can figure it out. And if teams come in already knowing how to beat it, or they know they're going to be able to practice it because they're expecting it, then obviously teams got a better chance of, maybe it not being so effective for Syracuse. So you never really know. It could be just that they're just going to throw that wrinkle in there. And when they're playing against teams that have that type of guy, they switch it up. But either way, it's not going to sneak up on anybody really anymore.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. And it's unfortunate, but they're just going to have to evolve with the next thing. And coach will do it, I think. I don't have a doubt about that. But Jesse, just real quick, Jesse Edwards goes out with 3 minutes, 35 seconds left, Joe. And I'm just like, oh boy, this is going to be it. Jesse can't stay out of foul trouble, and this is going to be it. 3 minutes, 35 seconds to survive without him in the game. I thought for sure we were toast. So that's a testament to, Frank coming in, and they had all kinds of different rotations during that last 3 minutes, 35 seconds to make up for Jesse not being there. And it was excellent. That was Leonard Hamilton, straight getting out coached. That when Jesse went to the bench, he just got out coached, plain and simple. So, that's how I see it. So, all right, yeah. Syracuse will head to Madison Square Garden, as we said, and this is Tuesday, correct? Yeah, Tuesday. And it looks like the game's going to be at 9:30 in Madison Square Garden. First Villanova, Cole Swider's old team. The all-time series between Syracuse and Villanova sits at 39-33 in favor of the Orange. The two teams met 12 times in the Big East tournament, with Syracuse holding the advantage 8-4. Syracuse has a 35-32 edge over Villanova in overall Big East play, according to orangehoops.org. The two teams haven't met since December 2014. The Wildcats would go on to win that game 82-77 in overtime at Villanova. That game's lineup was Joseph, Cooney, Christmas, McCullough, and Benajay. That's crazy, right? That was the last time we played them. Benajay and Christmas with 18 points and Joseph with 10 assists. Number 6, Villanova, they got a pretty high-powered offensive team. They're not bad. With 4 guys averaging double figures and another one on the cusp. Ken Pom has them with the 4th ranked adjusted offense and the 44th ranked adjusted defense. And they're sitting at 6-2, Joe, with losses only to UCLA, who's second. Ranked second, and Purdue, who's ranked 6th. But looking through, I mean, Mount St. Mary's
Purdue's won now.
Purdue's won now, are they? Okay, all right. Wow. Okay. Okay, so wins over St. Joseph's, Pennsylvania, LaSalle, okay, Tennessee, Howard, and Mount St. Mary's. But the 2 losses to the ranked teams were close. One of them was in overtime, the UCLA game, 86-77. So they were close games. The 2 losses. Purdue was 80-74.
Yeah, I watched that game. I would say, looking at their schedule, I mean they're a tough team. Looking at their schedule, their best win was against Tennessee, beat them by 18. And they're a good team, but these other teams that they played, I mean, all these teams, they beat them by like at least double digits. I think the closest game was at Penn, and it was like a 16-point game or something like that as far as all these other games. So they've blown these other teams out. And again, you don't really know how, good those teams are. So, Tennessee's good. We know Purdue's obviously good, and that was a close game that I believe was a game during, I think it was a holiday type of tournament or, non-conference preseason tournament or whatever. So, but either way, this Villanova team, it's I don't think it's the same team that we're used to seeing for Villanova. I think that normally they have, they definitely are a team that gets a lot of seniors, and they kind of develop players and stuff like that. They've been good for a really long time. They've won national championships, and coach knows what he's doing, right? So,
right.
And really, when you look at this team, I mean, you got 2 5-year seniors that are in the starting lineup with Jermaine Samuels and Colin Gillespie. You got another senior. Another senior that comes off the bench, Caleb Daniels, shoots a bunch of threes. He didn't play against St. Joe's. He was questionable. I know they got some stuff with COVID, and he actually was dealing with myocarditis last year because of what they said about COVID. But regardless, he was dealing with something with that, and there was some type of COVID thing going on, and he didn't play against St. Joe's. But he's really good 3-point shooter, and really these guys, they shoot a lot of threes, man. Just going back when you're looking at the schedule.
They all
What's
do.
that?
They all do. Just watch.
They all do.
Just watch.
Yeah.
They all do.
Well, against Purdue, when I looked at their box score, you had Caleb Daniels, who came off the bench and shot 7 threes, made 5 of them. Connor Gillespie made 4 of 8. Jermaine Samuels, 5 of 7. Justin Moore, 4 of 8. Jermaine Samuels was 1 of 8, but there was 4 players that shot 7 3-pointers at least. When you look at the team, the youngest guy, Eric Dixon, a 6'8", 255 pound forward, so he's a big boy. He's a sophomore, so you got nothing but pretty much sophomores, juniors, and 2 5-year seniors. So there's players that have just been around the program for a very long time. And you've seen their growth when you look at their stats coming from, redshirting to barely helping to every year. You see their stats growing and growing. And now, they got a starting lineup full of those guys, and it's their time to really, shine and have a good season. And realistically, like I said, it's hard for me to tell, especially early, and that's what makes
it's tough.
Non-conference so great is because you don't know how good teams are. I mean, obviously Purdue's good; they played them close, In
UCLA, they play close. Where's UCLA ranked right now?
I'm not sure.
Hold on,
not sure.
I think I have it.
Maybe
crap.
5th.
I don't have it.
maybe 5th, but it's still top 10. So, but when I really look at this lineup, they got a 6'8" guy and 2 6'7" forwards. So they're not going to have anybody with
they're
Jesse
fifth.
Edwards' height.
They're 5th, you're right.
Yep. They're not going to have anybody with Jesse Edwards' height, although, they got guys, that got more weight and bigger bodies. And really, the close games that they've played, for the most part, they've really only gone 6, maybe 7 deep. They got Chris Archidiacono, who had a brother who played
Easy
there.
for you to say.
Or I think
I
his
remember that
brother,
name.
Yeah. So he doesn't play much, but he was the one that stepped up and played 23 minutes when Caleb Daniels couldn't play last game. So right there, that's kind of what they play. Connor Gillespie plays pretty much all the minutes, and he doesn't come out of the game. So, and yeah, I mean, it looks like they're pretty clean as far as keeping people out of foul trouble. So this is going to be an experienced team that's going to probably, they listen to their coach and they move the ball around the way that they know how to, when you play basketball or college basketball for 5 years. It's going to be a tough team to beat. They're going to be physical down low. They're going to be well coached.
They can score at will.
They can score, and that's really the one thing is that they can score.
We got to hope that our defense is just that much more improved. Yeah, the one thing I'll be looking for, and I'm sure Cole's motivated to come into this game, right, and show his old team, what he's got, and with his new team. That's always added motivation for a guy.
That's really the big question, right?
Yeah, that is. It is.
Because he'd be probably starting on this team. But, he ended up going somewhere where it better suited his game, and he's now learning how to do that. And, I mean, it would be great. It would be how awesome that would be come full circle and him to finally, it click and have that game that Coach Boeheim was talking about it, 8 or 10. One of these games, he's going to have 8 or 10 threes, right?
Yeah.
Imagine him doing that in the Garden against the top 10 Villanova team. That'd be crazy. That's where he transferred from.
Exactly, and that's what I'm going to be fixated on. I hope he has a freaking tremendous game. I love those stories. I think it's awesome. But when it's your guy, right? So obviously, right. And as far as Cole goes, I mean, I wouldn't really, knowing who he is now, obviously I didn't know much about him before he transferred to Syracuse, but knowing who he is now, I don't know if I'd really want to play against him either. I mean, he's good enough. He just like he hasn't been lighting the scoreboard up, but he has been doing some things, and he's a problem. He's a problem sometimes. He's not like Jesse Edwards. Cole? Yeah. He's not like Jesse Edwards level problem right now, but he's a problem.
Well, yeah, and he's trying to figure it out.
Right. It's like Coach said, he's trying to figure out playing with us. He's trying to figure out our system. He's trying to figure out what we do. And it's a learning curve. And all of these guys got it. You see everybody working through it. Samir, Benny, and Cole all working through it. And Jimmy, by the way, working through it. That's his freaking dad that coaches his team. So, but Jimmy's been really good. I mean, he's been really good scoring, but he's made mistakes. He's gotten the glare. He's gotten the talk on the sideline coming over, right? So,
yep. And it's going to be interesting to see what they do defensive wise. I don't think Villanova, judging by the minutes played and how deep they go on their bench, I don't think that they're really pressing and playing that defense like VCU, Florida State, Auburn was doing to us. So really where I'm going to look.
It'd be a nice break, huh?
Yeah, and that's really what I'm going to look, because I think it's been those kind of defenses that have really been the reason why we've had, more turnovers than usual, right? Where Cole Swider gets 5 turnovers, and it's just been very difficult for us to, make some shots and everything like that. So, I mean, I look at this as a team that we might be able to, get even with the rebounds, but it's also you got to win the turnover battle. So, like what Boeheim said, when you add up the turnovers and the turnovers and the rebounds, those are the two things. If you lose one, but you can win the other one, then you can gain that gap back. So, and just obviously, just like any other, game too, you got to make shots. There's teams that have great offenses that you come out and don't do anything. I mean, I think that right now, Ken Palm's got us adjusted offense 17. and I think you see that because of how quick we can go on a roll and score points. But even us against Florida State, we only had 9 points in the first 9 minutes of the game. So, obviously they got to make their shots. But Villanova's defense isn't.
They're not as pressing as what we've been seeing lately.
They're not as pressing, and Ken Palm's got them adjusted rank at 45. But I think that's probably skewed a little bit, probably a little bit higher based upon their non-conference schedule for the most part. So they're not going to give us the same amount of trouble as some of these other teams. So so far, I don't want to be 4-3, and it's not where you want to be right now. You obviously want to win every game, but the games that we played, the teams that we played in this non-conference schedule, I think is really, really helping. And it's kind of what we needed, it's just to get kind of roughed up on defense so that this offense can kind of figure out how to score against anybody. So we roughed out of one last, against Florida State, only scoring 63. But that's a decent number considering how many we put into the first quarter of the game, how many points we scored. So this is just going to be it's still going to be a challenge, obviously, because this team, they're, more veteran and they know how to score and they can shoot threes. So if they play with that patience, and we've seen it, we saw Colgate, and if they play with that patience and experience and they shoot those threes and they get open, then it could be a tough ball game for us. But again, this group at Villanova hasn't seen this 2-3 zone. So, and their defense, like I said, we'll still be able to score against them. It's not like they have they have a good defense now. I don't want to sound like I'm poo-pooing it. It's just
top 50.
When you've already seen 3 really good defenses, then and that's what you're comparing it to. So
they're 44th. Just to put it into perspective, we're 156 according to KenPom. So. Just to put it into perspective, so.
Well, of course, if you looked at the numbers through KenPom's spectrum, then it would say that Villanova is going to be able to score against us no matter what. They're probably going to have no problem scoring against us.
Right. Well, right now,
if you're reading that book, if you're looking just by the numbers, but the problem is that we have a 2-3 zone and obviously a 1-1-3 or a 1-3-1 or whatever you want to call it, where this group's got to figure it out. And I know the coaches at Villanova have seen it before when we were in the Big East, but they're going to be able to coach it and they're going to be able to teach it, but still seeing it on the floor is still going to surprise some people. So it might take them a little while, but they're going to eventually figure it out and they're going to be able to score. So this might be another barn burner.
We'll see. KenPom's got Syracuse losing this game 77-69, but let's go back in the time machine to our last picks. We're going to do all ACC picks on the year. And I knew it was going to be difficult, and it was. So I had a difference of 45. I said 86-82. It's way off. Joe, you were way off too, but you were a whole lot closer to me, which just goes to show how far off I was. You had 77-72. You had a difference of 26. I had a difference of 45. So you're going to take the first one of the season, 1-0. I'm 0-1. And hopefully this thing doesn't come down to points because I'm going to get crushed. But we'll do the next time we pick will be Georgia Tech. Not that anybody cares, but I think it's fun.
It's a little ways away, yeah.
So, it's about 4 games away. So it'll be after Christmas will be our next pick.
So we both picked them to win, right?
We did pick them to win. Okay, yeah. So with that said, you got 21 and I got 40, if you really want to do that. Not that it matters that much, but yeah. Yes.
Well, it just tells you, how good of a defense Florida State actually has and where it's going to be playing.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, I think that is going to do it for us. We appreciate all of you for tuning in and hanging out with us. Syracuse plays Tuesday, so obviously, hopefully, we'll be here Wednesday to talk about it and also to talk about Georgetown. Georgetown, yes, the game's at 9:30, so get the coffee ready. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.